Welcome to the end of the semester. I hope that you're looking forward to a very relaxing winter break, but we've got a little bit of work to do before we can get there. So, the purpose of this video announcement is we are going to talk about your final portfolio and kind of go over what's due this week for the benchmark. And then I'm going to tell you about how I want you to complete your grade negotiation. So, if you've read announcements, you know that we have some important dates coming up. The biggest one is that on Thursday, benchmark number 1 is due for your portfolio. So this is a pretty basic deadline. In fact, I think it's in your best interest if you turn it in, you have a little bit more than the benchmark done. But the minimum requirements for the benchmark, which is just a fancy word for checkpoint, you should have requirement number 2 complete, and we'll look at that in a second. The portfolio section should be added, but does not have to be complete, and the About the Photographer section should be added, but doesn't have to be complete. Important to note, the About the Photographer section is where your self-portrait should go, as a side note. So, requirement number 2, you should go ahead and add your 3 favorite/strongest photo galleries to the assignment tab in your website. This is really great. All you need to do is use the Insert feature in Google Sites, and you'll be able to select your particular Google Slideshow or Google Image Gallery and just drop it in there. You don't need to tell me why it's your favorite. It just needs to be present in that section. And then, of course, working on the other requirements. If you have any questions about the requirements, please let me know. As you are aware, the self-portrait needs to be included in the final portfolio, and that's actually the only new photograph you should be taking unless you're working on missing work. Now, I challenge you to really turn in a strong photo. It is not a self-portrait if someone else takes the picture. So you need to problem solve how you will take a picture of yourself. Other than no selfies, and I mean like classic selfies, none of that like really obvious social media selfie. If you have any questions on your self-portrait, let me know. This picture right here would count. It's a super easy to achieve image, but the photographer went one step further and put it in black and white. And if you look closely, you can see that the focus is actually on the camera, not the photographer itself. So there are some other things going on there in that photo. If you want to challenge yourself with something a little more advanced, you could use some Photoshop skills and learn some new ideas for adding some post-processing, or even just putting your camera on top of something and putting the self-timer on and making a cool scene. For inspiration, you can check out this gallery. There's some really neat pictures there. So you should have everything you need for your final portfolio, and now we're going to talk about how to negotiate your grade for the end of the semester. So everything you need for your grade negotiations are in Unit 5. It has its own folder here at the bottom. When you head in, there's going to be a Google Doc that you're going to open up, and you are welcome to make a copy of this for your own record. This is not a 10-minute reflection. This letter to negotiate your final grade will probably take you the better part of an hour, maybe longer if you're really doing a good job on it. So start early, because part A of this assignment is all about gathering your materials and your evidence and your photo assignments and your feedback and looking back over self-reflections and spending time really reviewing and reflecting how you've done. Really thinking about where have I shown effort, where have I shown growth, and where have I shown mastery, okay? When you write this letter, I should be reading the letter of a photographer, right? Of course you're a student and you're going to speak to some of your student skills, but I want to know what you have learned, why you think you've learned it, and what grade you think you've earned because of it. It's important to remember as well that your negotiation is also an argument, so you want to be prepared to argue why you think you deserve a certain grade. Additionally, you should review our syllabus and our grade agreements, and it's just a good idea to look at this as you're collecting your materials again and go line by line what an A is and why you think that. Okay, back to the assignment sheet. Part B is actually going to be the letter itself. So I've broken it down kind of organizationally, what you want to worry about, and what questions you should be prepared to answer. So it's a letter, so open with Dear Miss Stevens or Hi, Hello. Just make sure you have some kind of greeting there. And then you can start talking to me about what you've learned in this class, what work you did, what photos reflect your strongest skills, and most importantly, you're proving to me what you have done, right? You're persuading me why you think you earned a certain grade. So make sure that you have plenty of evidence, and if you need to, actually like copy and paste your pictures into your assignment, into this letter. Take screenshots of the work that you've done. Go back and reference your self-reflections and tell me how you've grown. So paragraph 1 is all about what you've learned and how you can prove what you learned. Make sure you hit this point by point by point to make sure that you include everything. The next section of your letter, where do you want to continue to grow as a photographer? And then where do you want to continue growing as a student and a scholar, right? So sometimes you might have a student who has wonderful skills in the class. So maybe you're just a great photographer, but your student habits, your student abilities have gotten in the way of you doing your work. Tell me about that. What happened? What do you need to improve on? How are you going to fix that? And just kind of own things that you need to own. The next part of your letter is when this is your moment. This is where you're going to actually tell me what grade you think you have earned in this class and why. What did you do well in? Where did you struggle? What was successful for you? And then where did you fall short? And then this is a chance for you to address anything else that you need to. Maybe you have missing assignments. Talk to me about what happened and why that impacted the grade that you think you deserve. Did you do your critiques all the time perfectly, or did you kind of scatter them around and not really get to them? Do you have lots of late work? Did you always miss deadlines? Right, this is a chance for you to really expand on kind of the nitty-gritty and taking some ownership and taking some reflection on what grade you think you have earned, okay? It's going to be really helpful to go back and look at the grade negotiation so that I can see that you've really thought about this. The last paragraph or two is your chance to tell me anything else that you want me to know about the class. How did it go, your efforts, the grade that you earned, or your final thoughts. And then, of course, include a closing where you just say, thank you, your name, sincerely, your name, or whatever. You know, may the force be with you, your name. There's some more information down here about what your letter should be. It should be at least 300 words. I don't want you to worry about word counting. The reason this requirement is here is to make sure that you are writing enough. There is no limit on how long your letter can be. Some more information here for you to read, but the most important thing is if I read your negotiation and we do not agree, I'll leave you in writing what I think your grade should be and why, and then after that you can request a face-to-face conference with me during finals week to try and find some common ground if you disagree. So that is your right, and I am very happy to do that with you, so don't freak out if you see that we did not agree. That's not the end of the world and nothing to stress about, okay? Most importantly, just make sure you have lots of clear examples and proof, and again, this is not a 10-minute reflection. This is a beefy negotiation to tell me what kind of letter, or what kind of grade rather, you think you deserved. When your letter's done, and yes, you should do it in a Google Doc, no Word documents, no PDFs, it must be an editable Google Doc. Make sure it's complete, and it is, of course, in a letter form, and then hand it in. That's pretty much the end of the class, which is pretty exciting. We are done with critiques, so we will not have any more of peer feedback going on. I do recommend that you check out people's Mimic photo assignments. They're very cool. And then here's our last calendar. So benchmark number 1 is due Thursday. Your final portfolio is due at midnight Tuesday. And then your complete grade negotiation is also due by midnight Tuesday. So if I was you, I'd try and get your portfolio done on Monday and the letter done on Tuesday, or vice versa. Don't wait until the last minute to do both of those. That's it for now. I really appreciate the time the time we've had together and the work that you've done in this class. I hope that you'll consider signing up for the next photography class, which is creative photography. And we focus a lot on using Photoshop as a visual medium, as an illustrator tool, and just go a lot deeper into the skills we've learned in this semester. So if you enjoyed it and that sounds like fun to you, that is art elective credit, and I'd love to see you sign up for that next semester. Thank you again for all your hard work, and I'm looking forward to seeing your final portfolios. Happy holidays!